Testing, testing, 1, 2. I know my sound quality has been pretty awful. So I got a new mic and it's actually over £3. So, we're leveling up. Fellow period havers, if you're anything like me, I know that during the week before all hell breaks loose, you're feeling down, vulnerable, and like you just want to hide from the world and escape into whatever current fixation that's taking your fancy. Maybe Sims, maybe a restaurant simulator. Those are relaxing. Or even a murder mystery puzzle game. Now, imagine that during this already trying time, you are aggressively advertised a dark romance smut novel by the name of Breed Me Alpha Daddy. I have read some of it and I'm concerned. Content warning, just a heads up, the material being discussed in this video includes explicit and graphic sexual content. While it's part of a fictional story, some scenes are intense and not suitable for all viewers. If that's something you're uncomfortable with or prefer to avoid, please feel free to skip this one or proceed with discretion. So this story was advertised to me by Dreame Stories. It's from the point of view of Lyra, a young wolfling, as she visits her best friend Tasha's house for the summer. There also resides Dom Daddy Damon Thornvale, who is the alpha of their district, let's say, and object of her infatuation. And also, Tasha's dad. So without further ado, let's get into the book. Okay, so there is some forewarning on the website, so let me just quickly read that to you. Warning, for mature readers only. This story is not for the faint of heart. It's dark, twisted, and drenched in betrayal, power, and taboo cravings. Triggers and themes include age gap, obviously, possessive alpha, forbidden love, best friend betrayal, emotional manipulation, dominance, and raw desire. If you want soft, sweet love stories, this isn't it. But if you're ready for a ruthless alpha who doesn't ask for permission, Hello? Yeah, I'd like to report a wolf sighting. Yeah, I'm still here. Am I safe? For now. Yep, the Thornvale estate. Hello? Hello? And a girl who should have known better but couldn't stay away. Then welcome to your next addiction. Well, if the title of the story didn't scare you, then maybe that did. I think I should have put some alcohol in here. Should I? Should I? Should I? Should I? Should I?
Two shots of vodka.
Oh, Saturday night, I'm getting lit and read the smell. Chapter 1, Forbidden Desire. I never intended to be my best friend's alpha dad, but I'd be a damn lie if I said I hadn't fantasized about it, dreamt about it, tasted it behind my closed eyelids with my legs spread and my fingers dripping between my thighs. Yeah, I know how that sounds. I'm not sorry, because every girl has a first crush.
Right.
Mine just happened to be a man who could kill with his bare hands, command an army of wolves, and make my thighs tremble just by walking into a room. Damon Thornvale, alpha, billionaire, beast in human skin, and the man who made me arrive for the first time without ever touching me. Wow. Just from a quick skim, I think I will be paraphrasing some of this for time and other reasons. So she just essentially goes on about how horny and wet her bestie's father makes her, and how she's helped herself to the thought of him and his member. He wasn't mine, but I wanted him to ruin me. I didn't want gentle, I didn't want slow. I wanted him to bend me over the dining table while the maids watched. I wanted him to be in the shower loud enough for Tasha to hear. Why? I wanted him to make me scream, "Daddy," while he filled me so full I couldn't walk. I didn't want to be loved, I wanted to be used. Alright girl, go off. And now I'm 18. Legal, couple. Okay, well, if we go back just a few scrolls up, it says here, to a man twice my age. Every summer spent at Thornville, I watched him. So she just turned 18. She's been to Thornville a few times before she was 18, which would have made her a child. Anyway, so this is how the author introduces Tasha, her bestie, who I can only assume is also 18. Lyra! Her voice cracked the thoughts in my head. And then she was there, Tasha Thornville, my best friend in all her chaotic, sun-drenched glory. Blonde hair wild, lips glossed, legs long and bare in tiny pink shorts that hugged her ass like a second skin. She ran down the steps barefoot, bouncing like they were trying to escape her tank top. My mouth dried. Her tits were bigger than last year, full, round, perfect. She wasn't wearing a bra. Sorry, but is this written by a man? I mean, I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but doesn't this seem reminiscent of a famous tweet by a gamer smurf? Braless wife. My braless best friend. Okay, she wasn't wearing a bra. Of course she wasn't. Her nipples were hard from the wind. Just to paraphrase this part, Tasha just talks about the new, what is the word? Like when you get work done in your house, renovations. So Tasha's just going through the renewed renovations that her dad has had on the manor. And there's this beautiful piece of dialogue from Tasha, which I guess helps you paint a picture of what kind of person she is. She stopped walking, turned, grabbed her and jiggled them. The pool is so sexy, it made my nipples hard. More talk of hard nipples, like, I choked. Tasha. I mean, look, she laughed, cupping her and squeezing. Permanent diamonds, babe. Daddy made it aesthetic or whatever. Black towels, underwater lights, no rules. I gave a blowjob a floaty last week. You're gonna have the best in summer. 18-year-olds. Am I right? So Lara is shown to her room by Tasha. She looks out the window and she sees her 40-year-old guardian for the summer swinging a sword in a courtyard, as you do. They lock eyes for a moment and let's just say the dam breaks. You know what I mean. I reached between my legs just to check. I was dripping. That was fast, and he hadn't even laid a fucking finger on me. Not yet, but he will. Because this summer, I'm not leaving Thornville untouched. He's going to me, not me, like a pretzel, or so maybe that means something else. Breed me, girl, ew. Make me scream his name with tears on my cheeks, and his dropping out of me in thick, endless waves. Okay, next chapter. Chapter 2. I can't get him off my mind. So we start chapter 2 with Lara reeling back from the shock of seeing Daddy Dom Damon's piercing blue eyes from the courtyard. There's more talk of like hard nipples, and pulsating bits. By the way, like I'm completely skimming over like a lot of it, but just so you know, the writer is very descriptive. They really don't leave anything to interpretation. You're really able to feel what the character is experiencing in that moment, with talks of clenching ruined panties and so that it looked painful. They really have a way with words, I must say. We have another in-depth description of Tasha's hard nipples. She's again not wearing a bra, very important. Lyra can't believe how hard her nipples are and just gawks at her friend. Tasha notices this and says, by the way, that's me paraphrasing, it's not right here. Tasha notices this and says, "You're so weird sometimes," she said, tugging on the top without a second thought. "But hot, so it's fine. We'll just say the quiet, mysterious one and I'm the reckless." Oh, no. Tasha. She spun, grinning. "What? It's true. I've got one brain cell and two amazing... Look." She grabbed them, jiggled them. "Fun bags, Lyra. Actual fun, and we're gonna use the hell out of them this summer." I laughed, blushed, and shook my head. She sat close and smushed her together like a sandwich. "Pool, boys, wine, orgies. Just kidding. Unless... And you're coming with me. First pull, then ice cream, then we f around in the wine cellar until daddy catches us and grounds us like we're still 16. At the mention of her dad, my breath hitched. So, like, this is where my discomfort about, like, this daddy kink comes in, because Tasha calls her father daddy because, he is. And now you also want to call him daddy too, but in a sexual way. And like maybe my opinion is a bit swayed against it because I've always referred to my parents as like mummy and daddy, like I still do. So the idea of calling like another person that, like especially like a love interest or like a partner or anybody ugh, it's this and also, why does this remind you of those Facebook posts where the guy would be like, "Oh, I was having dinner with my girlfriend, and she said, 'Daddy, pass the soul,' and then me and her dad reached for the soul at the same time." Awkward. Like, I don't know why it's given that, but like the other way around. And also, I seem to have just missed this. She says, "Ground us like we're still 16." So that's confirmation. Lyra and Damon knew each other when she was 16. She was at their house staying over for the summer at the age of 16. We don't know if it was any younger, but she was definitely 16 in his presence at some point. Chapter 3, Pool Scene. The pool was already packed when I stepped outside. Girls draped over lounge chairs and barely their bikinis, boys cannonballing off the rocks. Laughter echoed under the sun like sin having a party. The air smelled like coconut oil, chlorine, and teenage recklessness. So she walks out in her red one piece and has a Miss Congeniality, she's all that, slow-mo entrance, all eyes are on her. If you want a visual on what her suit looks like, I'll just edit it onto the screen. So Tasha is chilling with like 6 of the party goers in a pool, 3 boys, 3 girls, whom the writer describes like each one in very like excruciating detail, from their hard dark nipples down to their veiny curved, and soon they're all getting freaky with each other in the pool. Lyra excuses herself from the water orgy and suddenly she can feel eyes on her. Whose eyes? Well, Big Daddy Dom Damon's, of course. Just suddenly watching a pool full of fresh adults, getting down. Normal father behavior. So Tasha, Damon's daughter, unaware of this, swims over to Lyra and engages in some heavy petting on her bestie. Again, while her 40-year-old father watches. And she's not aware he's watching, by the way. He's just... Let's just move on. Chapter 5. She craves him. So she's again back at her room. She can't sleep. That piercing blue stare of her 40-year-old best friend's dad is plaguing her mind. She helps herself in the shower, but realizes that Damon had been watching her, but he disappears before she can see him. All that remains of him is big wet footprints. But let me not water this down. Like, she is pining for him. So she recounts him looking at her from his balcony, and the only thing I can think about was him. Damon Thornville, watching me from that balcony like he already owned every inch of me. Like he knew I'd let him fuck me in the pool if he crooked a finger. Like I crawled to him, naked, dripping, on my knees, if he told me to. And like, I'm telling you, this whole chapter, like I'm going to skip this, but this whole chapter is just her going hard on herself and fantasizing about him. I imagine him behind me, hot breath at my neck, big hands on my hips, that voice right at my ear. You like touch yourself for daddy, don't you, little Omega? By the way, he hasn't said this. This is just her imagination. He hasn't said anything to her, actually. So that night, she dreams of him and in her sleep, wakes up, showers, helps herself again. As we've come to expect, her nipples are, of course, hard as diamonds. While she's showering, again, she realizes that he's watching and begins pleading to be used. It gets very... Have you ever, like, read something and you can really feel the pain of the character? Yeah, let's say her kitty is sore as fuck, but she keeps going. Chapter 7, Submission. So yeah, he's not engaging, just creepily watching his daughter's friend shower. He leaves her to it and she crawls back to her room in shame and again starts begging for him like bad and helping herself again, and she's in pain. Physical but definitely psychological too, right? Chapter 8, Ruin Me Daddy. I actually feel ill saying that. So it's the morning. Lyra's at breakfast with her bestie. Tasha is going over the ideas for her birthday party, but Lyra's completely zoned out and like overstimulated. Across the table, Tasha was doing what Tasha did best, running her mouth like it had never been shut. Across the table, Tasha was doing what Tasha did best, running her mouth like it had never been shut. So I was thinking, lake house for my birthday party, something elegant, something lunar worthy, but also slutty, like give him goddess, but make it. She paused, waiting for my reaction. I gave her nothing. She clicked her tongue. Lyra, hello, Earth to blue balls. I'm actually like lost for words, honestly. So she asks Tasha where her dad is. She responds, out, patrol meeting, some rogue pissed him off yesterday. Might be a war if it gets messy. Something flickered in my chest, sharp, bright. He's gone. 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 I try not to react. Try not to let the breath catch in my throat or the blush rise back into my cheeks. But she noticed. What? I blinked. Nothing. You asked about him. It was just a question. You smiled. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Her eyes narrowed. Wait, are you seriously? Lyra, oh my goodness. You're not thinking about my dad, are you? You better not, girl. What? No, God no. You are. I'm not. You are, she shrieked, slamming her hand on the table. You're thinking about him. You're wet, aren't you little freak? You're sitting at breakfast dripping from my father. I stood up too fast. My chair scraped the floor. My robe slipped at the shoulder, exposing the curve of my collarbone. Her eyes went wide. Holy shit, she whispered. You are. Shut up. She leaned back, lips curling into a wicked grin. He's gonna ruin you, Lyra. He doesn't f virgins, he breaks them. Hello? Yeah, is this the institute? Yeah, I'd like to speak to the shadow hunters. Okay, yeah, I'll leave a message. She walks away and like goes to her room to wait for Damon to get back. My nerves were shot, my body was on fire, my throbbed with every step. I paced my room barefoot, robe still tied too tight, my nipples painfully hard against the silk fabric, my thighs slick from arousal I couldn't control. I tried the shower, ice cold, brutal, didn't work. Blindly guided by her libido, she finds herself inching towards the forbidden wing in the mansion. I slipped into the hallway like a thief, heart pounding, feet silent, turned left, past the family photos, past the silver frame mirrors, past the places I was allowed to be, toward his wing. Tasha's words echoed, never go there, it's where bad shit happens. Good. I wanted it. The carpet thickened under my soles, the scent grew darker, wilder like pine and whiskey and wolf heat, like something forbidden, like something that could eat me alive. I reached the last door. It was cracked open, barely, just enough to tempt. I touched the edge, pushed. The creak was loud, almost gut-wrenching. I winced, and then I saw him. Damon, alpha, flesh and danger. He stood at the center of the room like he owned the whole fucking world. Sweat ran down his bare chest. His muscles flexed with every breath. A single drop slid from his jaw to his pec, glistening like sin before disappearing into the dark tattoos that clawed across his torso. He didn't turn, but I knew he knew. He always knew. He shifted. His voice cut through the silence. You lost, little girl?
Are you lost, baby girl?
Let's take in the description of Alpha Daddy Dom, Damon. His face, his body, that raw, brutal beauty that made your lungs forget how to work. His sweatpants hung low, hips sharp, heavy, not hard, not yet, but thick, lying against his thigh like a loaded weapon, veins coiled up the shaft. His scent wrapped around me like a noose, my pulsed, soaked, throbbing. I backed up. His smirk deepened. You didn't mean to come here? I shook my head. Useless lie. He stepped closer. 1 step, 2. Like a god descending. You did. You came here knowing what I'd do, what I'd say, what I'd take. I didn't mean to, I whispered. Oh, I didn't mean to, I whispered. He moved fast, too fast. Suddenly his hand was under my chin, fingers rough, grip firm. He tilted my face up, eyes locked. You lie pretty, he murmured, but you're louder. Hey, I whimpered. He pressed his body into mine. I felt everything. The heat, the weight, the promise of what he could do. His mouth brushed my cheek. You touch yourself thinking of me. You whisper my name into your pillow while you put your fingers like a needy little... Oh, no. Here? I moaned. He chuckled, dark, sinful crawl, like he was enjoying this. You want to be ruined. Say it.
Say it.
My lips trembled. I want you to ruin me. Please, I beg you. He stepped back, just enough to tease. Not yet, little girl. I don't know if you can take me. Who are you, bro? Shut the fuck up. So what follows is this like back and forth of him saying stuff like,
That sweet little fetching cunt of yours wouldn't survive a fucking inch.
and then her just begging to be used, ruined, bred continuously. Do you know what this would do to you? He hissed. It would tear you open. You'd scream, cry, maybe even bleed. You begged me to stop halfway in. He leaned down, lips brushing the shell of my ear. And I wouldn't. Oh. Oh. At this point, his hand is on her neck, but now he's pushed her against the wall and lifted her up. After all her begging and pleading, he says, I don't fuck little girls like you. I destroy them. It's fucking alphas, I swear down. It's literally triggering my allergies. Next time you try that nonsense, he said, his voice cold and deadly, I won't take it lightly. Then he let go. I walked away. Just like that. Leaving me gasping, wet, aching. Okay, panty soaked, throat burning, starving. Yeah. Okay, like, again, I paraphrased so much of that. There's so much I didn't read. Because essentially it was just the same thing. You know, clearly it was leaning into like a denial kink type of thing. You can't take this dick. Yes, I can. You can't handle this. Yes, I can. Give me the... No. Please. No. You know. But I'm making it sound a lot less intense. So take it with a grain of salt or sugar or a shot of rum at this point. Hey, I just wanted to drop in and ask how you're finding the story so far. If you happen to read any dark fantasy books yourself, please drop some recommendations in the comments below. Speaking of comments, they are very, very helpful for my channel, so join in the conversation. You can even make fun of the fact that my microphone kind of looks like an adult toy. And if you've been watching my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, well, please do. I promise I do not bite. You might though. And for those that have subscribed, I really appreciate your patience with the dodgy audio. Trust me, I know, but it's in the past now, I promise. But yeah, that's all I had to say. So I'll let you get back to your video now. Bye. Okay, so my first question is, who is this for? I would initially think like 18-year-olds or about that age just because of the main character. Because when I was a teenager, I was big on like sci-fi, fantasy books, targeted at teenagers. And all the main characters of the books were of similar age. I mean, none of them were written like this, of course. Because if I came across a book like this at 18, I think me being blissfully unaware that this is something that people are actually into, I would have read the first sentence, put it back, and like laughed all the way home. But when you look at booktok, the majority of dark romance enthusiasts are older Gen Z and millennials. So I assume that is the actual target audience. I'm within that age group, and considering this was violently advertised to me, I think that's about right. But even though the intended readers are presumably adults, the subject matter centers on a character that just became, in the writer's words, legal. Making Lyra 18 is a deliberate choice to evoke that energy of a hyper-specific category. You know, the type that thrives on the look but don't touch until now kind of dynamic. And like, my other question is, what's the difference between reading this for pleasure and consuming barely legal? And before you fight me on this, let's not forget the way the teenagers in this book were written. The use of the language legal and fuckable not only objectifies her, but also signals that how we perceive her should suddenly change because now it's socially acceptable to sexualize her. Turning 18, she now goes from a child to a girl that should have known better. This isn't just taboo, like, this is grooming. This is groomy. Okay, this is groomy behavior. This isn't just like a age gap fantasy. This man knew her while she was a teenager. I mean, she still is one. And the story leads into that with lines like, you know, now she's legal, I find it fuckable. It's not taboo, it's textbook grooming. And please do not give me the, oh, she wanted him more and he rejected her, so it's not even like shut up, please, like, genuinely shut the fuck up. This excerpt that I read took us to what, chapter 7, 8? On the website, last I checked, they were on chapter 143. So I'm assuming at some point sorry, is there something? It's cat fur. So I'm assuming at some point he does actually sleep with her. And I would hope, like, maybe 10 years down the line, but that's unlikely. Big Alpha Damon is using language that sexualizes her youth,
I didn't fuck little girls like you, I destroyed them.
whilst also using sexually charged aggression as a form of dominance. Him denying her wasn't rooted in care or any acknowledgement of the inappropriate dynamic between them. He's clearly using denial as a form of humiliation, which, between two emotionally mature, consenting adults, is great. But this lifting her off the ground and pressing your arousal into her whilst simultaneously infantilizing her is beyond disgusting. And I must remind you, he watched her grow up. Like, she really could have been her age. You know, I'll give the writer some credit. The content itself, it's very in-depth, and I can see the appeal if denial kink and submission is your thing. And with the way this is written, this still could have had an impact and been spicy. Even more so if the main character was a fully fledged adult woman. For context, I will compare this to another dark romance that centers around submission, and that will be 50 Shades. I will note that the dom sub community have voiced that this isn't an accurate portrayal of what a healthy dom sub relationship should look like. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but if that is something you would like more knowledge on, I definitely suggest watching Kat Blaque. She makes videos for introspective hot people. She's also made videos on the 50 Shades trilogy and separately on dom sub relationships. But my reason for bringing this movie up is Anastasia, who is the main character. She's never been in a dom sub relationship. I mean, she's never even had sex, so there is still this level of inexperience, especially in contrast to what her love interest Mr. Grey gets up to. But you know, she's an adult and has been for a few years. She's a college graduate, she lives independently. Christian introduces her into BDSM, but she has enough agency to ask questions, set limits, and negotiate what she is and isn't okay with. In this book, the premise could have been the same. Best friend's father, huge age gap, virgin if that's really non-negotiable for these narratives, and she could have been 25. But instead, we have a freshly 18 main character written as a submissive child begging to have his alpha puppies without any understanding of what that can mean for her future. And then this coconut head, who has known her since she was a child, is using her inexperience as erotic leverage. And if you're still thinking, oh, but she's a legal adult, I ruined it. And if you're still thinking, oh, she's a legal adult, less than a year ago, she was 17. Let that sink in. What could she possibly have learned within that year to ensure that she's mentally prepared and emotionally ready for what this type of power dynamic can do to her psychologically? Just to reiterate, power play between two consenting and mature adults, fire. please sir, may we have some more? But this is power abuse. And instead of stepping away with care and maturity for someone you've partially raised alongside your daughter, he taunts, dominates, and sexualizes her innocence like a creep. Look, I'm not against dark romance, a spicy power imbalance, with some tension. Hey. But this isn't just dark, and I feel like it's hiding behind the word fantasy to excuse its problematic content. The problem isn't kink, it's that this fantasy relies on someone being too young, too naive, or too powerless to give informed consent. And that's not edgy and sexy, that's predatory. If you're someone who enjoys dark fantasy, there are so many great writers out there, so, enjoy, get your fill, get off to your heart's content. In the meantime, since the police haven't come yet, I will be calling the shadow hunters again to take down Damon for grooming. The illegal kind. Totally forgot to say my outro, so really apologize for that. How rude, honestly. But yeah, so if you have made it this far, I would really like to thank you for your time. Until next time, where I will hopefully have a better outro. Bye. Hello. Oh my gosh, Jace from the Institute. Oh my god, a long time. Thank you so much for calling me back. Oh,